Okay, first question. Sharon, I'll start with you. What is the biggest challenge facing Weber County that you can address in the position you are running for?
Can we introduce ourselves first?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, please, thank you. I'm just wanting to get right to these questions.
My name is Sharon Bolos. I'm a lifelong resident of Weber County. Graduated from Weber High and also Weber State University, where I earned my accounting degree. I just recently finished my master's degree in public administration, and throughout my career I've been a small business accountant, so I've helped numerous business owners within the county focus on their small business and their expertise while I take care of what I consider to be the fun stuff that some business owners don't like. And I spent the last 8 years as the mayor of West Haven City. And there I spent 6.5 of those years as a city administrator, where we did not have a city manager. And so I was able to have real world experience in the administration portion that is part of the county commission job. And I have a great reputation with the mayors in the county, and great relationships with many county employees.
Thank you, and again, thanks for coming. I'm Bill Olson, candidate for Weber County Commissioner. I'm not a politician, I'm a retired serial entrepreneur. Started multiple companies. I identify an opportunity, do the research, write the plan, raise the money, execute on the strategy, and deliver value to my shareholders. I see every taxpayer in Weber County as a shareholder, as an investor in this county. And I see my role as County Commissioner delivering a reasonable return on that investment. I'm a big believer in public safety. I'm a big believer in business, small business. The businesses in Weber County hire our kids, employ most of our citizens, deliver goods and services to our community, and also provide a tax base for the services we need for our community. I would like to work with a number of organizations in the county that promote small business, and also see if I can't bring my leadership skills from running corporations to bring a little bit more efficiency with respect to management of government. Thank you, Rishi.
Okay, let's go back to our question. What is, and yeah, we'll start with you, Bill. What is the biggest challenge facing Weber County that you can address in the position you're running for?
Well, I've kind of changed my mind in the last couple of weeks. It's incredibly inflation. And I'm looking at our general fund in our 22 budget. We're looking to spend about $93 million, and the revenues are about 87 million, about a $5.5 million deficit. Now that will be taken care of with rainy day funds and savings, but that doesn't factor in 9% inflation over the next 12 months. And that means the taxpayer dollars shrink in value and government services increase in cost. We're headed for some real challenges in the future here, and as Gage mentioned, Weber County is a corporation. My experience is in not only developing corporations, but managing them. And with respect to shareholders, everybody has a different opinion. We've got to work together and identify the challenges we have and create the best solutions we can. So I'm looking forward to working with the existing management of Weber County, bring my skills to the table.
Thank you.
The top priority that I have is and always will be public safety. I don't think we are facing extreme challenges as some other parts of the country are, so I'll go on to the next two priorities that I have, and they both deal with growth. One is our water situation, and the other is housing affordability. In our water situation, I think it's important for the government to set an example, and so a priority for me would be to look at Weber County, our facilities and parks and things, and make sure that we aren't wasting water, and then to help residents of Weber County understand what they can do to conserve water so that we can all work together. I am a great collaborative worker and have been in my history in public service, and I'm looking forward to working with water districts and cities and with residents and helping us find those solutions. As far as housing affordability goes, the market drives so much of that cost, but I want to make sure that in Weber County there are no additional costs that are put onto the builders, which are then passed on to home buyers. And I think that's very important because sometimes government can get in the way of success there.
Thank you. Next question. What other public offices have you run for or held? And I know you spoke about that briefly.
So there's one thing that I didn't talk about, and that is when I was newly married, I was encouraged by my grandfather, who was a state representative for many years, to run for public office in Ogden City, and I ran for city council there. He helped me with my campaign. I fell in love with public service, watching him serve, and learned a lot from him about how you listen to constituents and how you address their concerns while holding your own values. A lot about, again, teamwork and collaboration. So I ran for that office and was not successful, which worked out well because shortly after that we moved to Oklahoma briefly while my husband did his graduate school. I also ran for and successfully won office as a city council member in West Haven, served one term there before I was asked by our mayor at the time to run to replace him, and I served 2 terms in West Haven City.
This is my first attempt at public office, but I can tell you I consider shareholder votes supporting a candidate. And of course, my experience is all business. With respect to county government, this has been a strange road running a campaign. I've had an opportunity to meet an awful lot of good people with great ideas. But I have no conflicts of interest. I have no business interests in Weber County. I'm a single father to 2 teenage daughters. I run a household, and I'm seeing how inflation is ripping this apart. And I'm looking forward to participating for the first time in getting elected. We've got a 4-year term ahead of us with inflation at the front door. It's going to take some strong leadership and some really good decision making and some great cooperation from our county government to get through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, we'll start with you on this next one. How do you feel about the caucus and convention system?
Well, I came from California 20 years ago. I fell in love with Snow Basin and watching the Olympics on TV. And by December of 2002, I was living in a home on the bench with season passes to Snow Basin. Let's see, I've lost my train of thought. Give me the question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
How do you feel about the caucus and convention system?
My first convention I attended was 2010 when they kicked out Bennett and got Mike Lee in the convention. He ended up becoming our senator. I've never seen any of that in California. In California, if you wanted to meet a Senate candidate, you had to write a big check and stand in line. So I love the caucus system. I've been everything from a delegate, an alternate delegate, to a SCC member, executive committee member, caucus precinct chair, vice chair. It's really is self-government at work. It doesn't exist in California, and I was proud to find it here, and I've been an active participant ever since. Thank you.
Well, I grew up on the Caucus Convention system with my grandfather and have a lot of respect for that system. I also know that this year, where 2 years ago there was not a convention held, I knew that there would be some problems with our caucus convention system. I know that there were caucuses that had trouble filling all of the delegate spots. And there were also some redistricting issues. And as it turns out, when we got to convention, we were short more than 50 delegate spots that weren't even filled. So seeing that, I took the opportunity to gather signatures to ensure my place on the primary ballot. That is a big benefit to a candidate because you get out and meet a lot of people, and my family and friends and I went and gathered those signatures and were able to meet numerous people throughout the county who either didn't know where and when their caucus was, or didn't know even that system existed. So it was a great opportunity for me.
Thank you. Okay, next question. We're going to do that part 2 question about growth again, because that's a very big issue when it comes to the county commission seat. Sharon, we'll start with you on this one. What is your plan regarding growth in Weber County?
The most important thing for growth to me is to have a solid general plan, and this pertains to unincorporated parts of Weber County. I know that most cities have a solid plan that they believe in, and I hope that those who don't would incorporate that. But in the unincorporated parts of Weber County, it's important for the commissioners to gather public input, involve the public in every step of the process. Maybe give them more opportunities to feel like their opinion is welcome as far as the plan for their city. And then stand by that plan. In West Haven, we adjusted our general plan numerous times while I was in office. If we saw a problem with what was happening and we weren't comfortable with the way that the city was developing, we went back to the drawing board and our planning commission addressed the issues that we saw. So I think it's important to always have a plan in place that you have faith in, and when you see problems, address those problems and move forward.
Thank you.
Well, I believe in master plans, and as a businessman, you don't really do anything without a plan, an executive strategy. Your plans allow communities to plan for growth and sustainable growth, and to develop the kind of communities that they're trying to develop. I think we run into problems when the flavor of the month shows up or something changes, and we rush in there and try to accommodate those changes and move away from that master plan. I understand the existing commission today is addressing Weber County's master plan that hasn't been really adjusted for many years, and that could get us into trouble. I applaud their efforts to do so, and I think it's important for all communities to have strategic plans and sustain growth, and then look to the residents and the citizens of that city to make changes. Thank you.
Perfect. Part 2, we'll start with you, Bill. If elected, you'll take an oath to do 2 things: uphold the Constitution of the United States and uphold the Constitution of the state of Utah. How do your previously stated plans regarding growth uphold the constitutional rights given to landowners?
Well, like Gage, I believe that property rights. Oh, are you kidding me? Sorry. I have an alarm set for my daughter. Sorry, my fault. Give me the question again.
Yeah. If elected, you'll take an oath of office to do 2
Oh,
things.
Yeah, so I study constitutional law at Loyola University, and I respect the rule of law. And with respect to growth, property rights, as far as I'm concerned, is an inalienable right. And I believe, I agree with Gage that it's not government's role to tell property owners what to do. On the other hand, if we can agree on a sustained growth plan and a master plan, we can start there in terms of accommodating the needs of private property owners. But I agree, it's not government's role to tell property owners what to do.
Thank you.
Part of the beauty of having to have a master plan is that property owners know what you're going to allow them to do with your property. And like I said earlier, it's important to keep that updated to address the problems that you see are happening in your community or maybe perceived to be happening. Another thing that's very important in upholding property owner rights is to involve the public. There were several times in West Haven where large developments were impacting existing residents, and we brought those parties together and were able to put them in conversations with each other so that they could understand what each other wanted to see happen in those areas. Successful every time. And even though the existing residents who didn't own the property were not always entirely happy, they understood, and they were able to work with some of the developers on some of the concerns that they had. And so there's no reason why we should not be upholding a private property owner's rights.
Thank you. Sharon, we'll end with you. Final statements.
Thank you. Again, my name is Sharon Bolos, running for County Commission Seat B. I'm excited to be here. I feel like I'm well prepared for this position. I think that my experience in local government and in governmental administration are very valuable to the residents in Weber County. The relationships that I have and the people who support me speak volumes for what I have to bring to the table. I have the support of many mayors throughout the county, many county employees with whom I've worked as the mayor who support me in this run for office. I love public service. I do it because I love it. I learned it from my grandparents and my parents. I've taught it to my children. When you get involved and you try to make a difference, you will make your community better.
Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize for my memory lapses. I don't know where they're coming from. My mind may be somewhere else. Certainly doesn't mean disrespect to you folks here tonight. Again, all I can say is my experience is in business. It's in mitigating shareholder concerns. It's in achieving goals, measuring objectives, reaching into new opportunity. And again, as a CEO, I served at the will of the shareholders and the board of directors. No contract will keep a CEO in a company if the shareholders and the board don't want them there. So building a team, finding success is what's important to me. And I think Weber County deserves it, and I plan on living here the rest of my life. And I'm not like Gage. I'm going to stick around as long as it takes to do what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause?